please introduce us to the work that this gentleman is doing and why you felt it was so important for us to include him here on our show.
Dr. Rabson Wuriga, my friend, is the leader of the Lemba tribe in Zimbabwe. This is his first historical visit in Israel. He came here to get a grant from Ben Tzvi Institute, who just initiated for the first time grants for research in diverse Jewish communities. And I visited in Zimbabwe with the community 5 years ago, and right now we are collecting experiences, meetings, ideas to continue our collaboration with the group.
Wow. So tell us about your work, not only as a community leader, but also in the university, and explain the very unique link between the Lemba people and the Jewish people.
Thank you. Greetings to your viewers. We have a work that is that involves myself as an insider of the community. We started long back when I had an encounter with Professor Matiba, who was then a retired professor in linguistics in South Africa. He was a leader in the South African side, but then he was always visiting his relatives in Zimbabwe. When we met, as a researcher, he said, well, why can't you consider working with our communities so that we can come up with more and more information for later generations. And that was the beginning of the whole thing in 1994. And we started working together for a long time. And when I came back from South Africa, because I was studying in South Africa, when I came back to Zimbabwe, then I started working with the community, organizing the community, doing research in terms of our customs, in terms of our history, in terms of what could be done for the community.
You also wrote a book, which I'm going to hold up here as well. If you could explain, for those, obviously it'd be a great read for people to buy it and read it, but explain what it is about the Lemba customs that goes back so far to the history of the Jewish people.
Yes, as an ancient community which hails from the ancient kingdom of Israel and came to Africa via Yemen and established themselves in southern Africa, we have customs that goes back to pre-rabbinic Judaism, if I may use the term that is there.
Of course.
In terms of sacred times, in terms of rituals, of which the central one is circumcision and keeping of Shabbat, observing the coming of the new moon, celebrating Pesach, of which the word that we grew up knowing is Pesach, and also celebrating the coming of the new year and many other sacred times.
So interesting. So you've also, obviously you do a lot of work in Africa, Ethiopia, I mean everywhere. You're everywhere all the time. Explain why this Lemba story is such an important component. We know about many different communities throughout Africa that feel a connection to the Jewish people, but the Lemba actually has a Y chromosomal connection to the Kohanim. Could you explain that first from an anthropology perspective?
Yes. We are all very much familiar with the stories of the 10 lost tribes of Israel. But the Lemba case is different, is unique. First of all, because of their origin that is most directly connected to King Solomon. Now, there is more things to be explored, but this community has a very long history of moving around, of migrating from place to place, of searching their Mount Sinai and the relatives that have been spread out throughout all over the places. And as other Jewish communities, many have been lost to Christianity, to Islam. But there is a core of people that have been holding to their identity and origin and want to continue and go on with it. And we are witnessing now this process that it's happening in front of our eyes with leaders like Dr. Rabson Wuriga and other people in South Africa and Zimbabwe, and with the assistance and sometimes interference of international Jewish organizations. And now we are trying to build up a bridge between Israeli people, I would say, not the establishment yet, and this unique community. Because, as I always keep saying to you, each of these communities are part of our general Jewish history. And we need to find a place and the correct definitions and opportunities to be more inclusive, and not only and not keep thinking that there is one way to be a Jew and all should follow. They were there before us.
Right, right. Also, the Lemba people, what is the belief that the community was part of the diaspora of the destruction of the Second Temple into Yemen? What is, explain the historical perspective?
Well, what we know is that our living in the Yemen for all those years led to the development of movements between the Lemba and Africa, ourselves, and the Indian side. It is very possible, on the basis of the story that have now become a text among the Lemba, which says we were crossing from Yemen via Wad al-Masaila into Africa, and the boat in which we were sailing in broke half, and the other half reached Africa. We don't know where the other half went. So after researching and reading the Book of Wales, it mentions of the Bnei Israel in India. They have also a similar story where they are saying, we don't know where the other half went. And as I link with members of the Bnei Israel community, we are kind of saying we have found each other. The other half is in Africa, and the other half...
Your long-lost brothers and sisters.
and all that. So it is one of those stories that explains the background of our historical setting in Yemen, and we lived in a place called Sena. And then in Sena, as I checked in history, I found out that there's a place called Sena in Yemen, and Wad al-Masaila, well, it was corruptly explained as Pusela. If you get to South Africa, you will get places called Pusela, because they kept on the places where they are coming from. And also in Tanzania, as well as in northern Mozambique, there are places called Sena. And in all poems that we do, or that we, as praise poems or in remembrance of our ancestors, we mention the place Sena. So there are so many Senas around as you go back to Yemen. And by the way, the name Lemba, in one of the old maps, you'll find out that the name Lemba is, there's a place on the old or ancient maps on the western side of the Dead Sea.
Thank you so much for coming on. I wish we had more time, but I'm wishing you a really successful trip here in Israel. And I hope that everybody's welcoming you with open arms. And I look forward to interviewing you again, even if it's by Zoom back home, but I'm sure we'll have many more opportunities. Thank you so much for your time.
Most welcome.
And thank you as always, Malka.